Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What's up, everyone? Let's do some prep for the week. All right. Let me just go ahead and share this link around. And we'll get everyone on board. Future's flat here, but there's a lot of stuff moving in the after hours. So let's go ahead and get these links shared. Not gonna easy. Money it easy. Mm, mm, mm. All right, let's hop in it. So futures are flat. First thing we got to check on is what we got coming up this week for economic data. I pulled that info every week from the economic calendar. So we're going to take a screenshot of this for the weekly prep. Whew. I hope everyone had a good Mother's Day, by the way. I am wiped out, honestly. We had a full weekend of stuff. So, next thing I'm going to snipe is this week's earnings. Oh, we have Oklo this week. So, we have Hims on Monday after the close. That's important to note because Hims is up really nicely. Um, So hopefully tomorrow we're gonna open above 30, which will be great because I have call options and earnings. I'd like to lock some of that in. We close this. We have MBIS. That's another big name. Baba, Cisco, USAR has earnings. MP earnings was pretty good, so that'll be interesting. There's a lot of quantum here as well. ONON be another interesting name, and you haven't traded that in a while. ONDS, another one I haven't traded in a while. Klarna will be interesting. Grab a gun. Wasn't that Trump family name? There's some weed too. We have Arch or Flyhat earnings. We're gonna review them today for sure. Haven't looked at Yeti in a while. I know Rum's had a nice recovery here. Okay. We're gonna look over quite a few of these actually as part of the prep. Let's go ahead and close this. First thing we want to look at for starting a review like this is kind of market state. We have the TTM kind of breaking to the downside, but RSI kind of confirming the highs here so far. Especially if we have an update tomorrow, you'll get a confirmation. RSI will creep a little bit higher. 2 days in a healthy state, but it is kind of overbought here. Some consolidation or a quick pullback this week could be possible. Weekly is substantially overbought, but RSI is giving confirmations, and you're getting the flip here. If we come to the monthly, we can see that we aren't confirming these highs yet with the RSI structure, but it is overall healthy enough. Nice continued rally here from the market, right? We can take a peek at Bitcoin, which is holding nicely above 80K. I'm still looking for this test to 84, where I expect a pullback and then a launch. overall, it's still keeping up. You do see some barcoding here on the TTM, which kind of tells us momentum is dying. So I am kind of hoping we just get that final push with the daily flipping. But again, you get this barcoding effect. That's when it gets really dicey, right? Um, yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into some individual names, I think. I did a big review of Momentum last week. That's actually on the newsletter. So you can read up on that if you'd like to. Um, I think I just want to go ahead and dive into some individual names here. I don't think there's any reason to review CMG. I still think we have a really healthy structure here. The weekly is still just building. The pullback here sucks, but it is a volatile name. It could do stuff like this. So long as we set a higher low here, I think we're going to get that moon mission in June. So we're going to have earnings this. We are going to have earnings this week. Did I miss that on our list? Oh, we have earnings Monday morning for CEG. That's going to be interesting. Okay, we've got a little bit of a pump into that. Up $5 was up $10. We'll see how it goes. Last earnings was pretty good. We got a bunch of bids off 290. Wouldn't be too worried about it. I like where it's at. So there's no real review to be had on that one, especially. We have HIM's earnings tomorrow night with the weekly about to fire to the upside here. Really nice, like bull flag structure here. This definitely needs to be a huge name to keep on the radar. Man, it just looks so good, man. Irene as well. Just you're getting the full breakout confirmation. And I think if we go to the daily here, we can get a better view of what that looked like. That back test right to the bullish support and then bounces through it. You know, that pullback on Friday is not anything to be concerned about, especially when it catches that bounce here. Right, I see the futures is down slightly. What's leading futures right now is SMDK. So they gotta open. Oh, it's already given up a lot of the move by the way, because it was up 105 points. Now it's up 40 points. All right, it's chilled out considerably. This is a chart where depends on where you open tomorrow. If it gives up that whole move, my word, that could be an ugly blow off. I wouldn't bet on it though. Man, it's so extended. It's hard for me to tell if I'm just a giant hater. You know, NVIDIA did stuff like this and then it still found higher highs. It's not a one-to-one comparison, but it is comparable for the AI story because memory is such an essential tool, especially for all the video AIs and image generators. You need so much memory. NVIDIA is a name that should really be on the radar, actually, because this just looks like a beautiful cup and handle breakout, man. We gotta have this one on the watch list, honestly, because this looks like the beginning. This doesn't look like a top here. This looks like it's gonna get a full breakout. Really, all you gotta do is watch over that Friday high. I'd even be willing to come in over 217. I'd take that previous high. Even if you get over that, you should at least get a nice scalp. Like a nice quick scalp. Or if you open lower. So when these get extended on the daily, as long as the weekly is given the confirmation, you're likely to get the move. Kind of like CM. So like with CEG, I've seen this like dozens of times. Actually, the most brutal name that did this to me was ZB, or was it ZBL or something? It was a cloud name. But Home Depot's done this to me. Lots of names have done this to me, where you get these either a wedge or a cup setup, and right before you break, if you're about to break but you're too far extended from this from the daily here, you'll get this like wicked pullback. But as long as the weekly still shows like momentum building, you typically still get the move, and it becomes a point at which you could add into the position. So I've seen this, and the weekly is actually giving the confirmation. It looks better than even CEG here. Looks really great. I'm gonna add this actually to our trade ideas. So I would like NVIDIA 220 calls over 217, and I would use yeah, so if we got over the 217, I would use 214.50 as the stop. Maybe a tighter stop if it creates another higher low here. But if we just get a straight move, and then 210 should give us decent alignment, because if you pop up on this name, you can actually look at Robinhood and get a clearer picture of where we're probably going to likely open. So it's down at 214.50 right now. So maybe if we do get the pullback, I'd like to try it off 210. So if we do get a pullback, I'd like to take it if 210 defends. Real simple, real simple. All right, I want to look at Oracle again. I mean, Oracle's another really simple one. Over 200, you look for a 210 call. Or if market dips, I'm probably a buyer at 185. Real simple. And this setup is really, really good, right? This is a really nice accumulation. Come in with a higher low. I would expect this move to be pretty explosive. Like I think we should be looking for Oracle back at like 280, 270 minimum. Too much money's getting into this space. Oracle, huge benefactor of all of it. Similar idea with Irene, right? Like the cloud companies are the big winners, more than the actual companies who are even offering the AI. So much money's being thrown around. And especially with like us having our own AI company, we are big believers in AI story because this stuff is crazy impressive. Let's go ahead and look at some of these quantum names because I'm pretty sure I still have some IonQ left over that's not working, but it did set like we did get buyers stepping in Friday when we needed them, and it went from red to green, which is a good sign. Um, I mean that looked like it just tried to set another higher low, man. I think I'm willing to drag this down even and just take it off of 50. It's kind of difficult because our confirmation really is about the 5269. So maybe I set a double alert here because this could easily be one of those where this alert goes off and I don't like it and it has to do another. There's obviously a lot of resistance here, and there has been for a while, right? So I'll set a double alert here just in case when this one goes off, I don't like it. Sometimes that happens, and then I forget about it. It falls off my radar because other stuff's moving, which really isn't the worst. You don't gotta hit everything, right? But I think I'm willing to try like some 54 calls over 50. And honestly, I'm not a dip buyer here. I only want the momentum. But we had a good earnings though. Really nice pop on earnings. There's a lot of names like this with this kind of setup. Hard to be bearish when I see this either cup and handles or these multi-year wedges, like kind of all over the place. Now we can go ahead. I can't remember. Was it D Wave or was it? It was D Wave. Okay, D Wave has earnings and Rigetti has earnings. I mean, yeah, it looks the same exact setup as IonQ. So I rather trade IonQ, which is the leader, over that. The same setup here. Just not as good price action here. To be honest, that cup and handle structure is a little bit cleaner here. But again, I don't need to trade the small stuff. I'll just trade the leader, especially when they all have the same setup. Let's look at Oklo because I actually have some SMR. And we did get the breakout that kind of failed, but buyer stepped in again. So I'm being really patient with this one. I held into that Friday plunge. It did the same thing that IonQ did. Very interesting, by the way. Be mindful of that. Look how similar this is to like the quantum names. So this could easily be like liquidity coming back in the market, like risk appetite, like they're slowly expanding out on the risk curve again, which could tell you that this is actually the beginning of a much bigger bull market. And the return of speculation. Bitcoin also recovering kind of tells you, okay, liquidity is coming back. Remember that liquidity comes back before the real rally start, right? Which is why if you've been in the Discord, I've been just kind of steadily getting more and more and more and more bullish. And I've been really confident in more new highs coming, which we got earlier than I even expected. Let's go back to Oklo and see if it. So like SMR gave us that move and denied it, but pulled back to a healthy range and then had a nice recovery on Friday. Oklo's down in less than 1% at 71.87. So it's defending that Friday low. There's a big difference here between these two, though. This finished green on the day. It actually went pretty red and then did a full reclaim. and Oklo did not ahead of its earnings. So I think I would probably still have the same opinion that I need. Oh, we did actually get a breakout confirmation that failed here. I don't know. I mean, you got like a nice cup and handle structure, and you got this longer term breakout range. I don't know. I already got one on, so I would really need this to give me the breakout confirmation. I wanted to reclaim this level. If you do get a reclaim, you should get a nice acceleration. I don't like the way that daily looks though. It looks fine though. It could pop all the way through. If this does dump, it's probably a decent short, man. Just even looking for that, and you just looking for I'll go all the way back to 50. So I actually think I'll set this. I don't think I'm gonna put it on the focus list, but I'll set that alert and see if I get the trigger there. All right, let's look at a few other one of these real quick. I do need to start moving here. Talking more than I usually do, but I just want to explain myself as I'm going through this. MBIS looks this looks like a healthy continuation higher, man. This weekly is a little bit concerning. Like that's a big exhaustion. Give up 50% of that up move, but it's just coming back to the daily support. So if I wanted to short this, I would literally need it to fail like 161 here. And it looks like it wants to go to 217. I actually hate the lack of momentum confirmation here. I think I actually will go ahead and set that 161 alert. Maybe if market pukes on some bad news headlines, this might actually turn into a high quality short. Yeah, it doesn't have a previous high to look for. We do have earnings this week. Getting short in earnings is going to be tough. That's going to be really tough, actually. Holy cow. I've traded this penny stock before. What is this pop? I like short seller. Seems like he's posting about this a lot. Shay likes it though, so that's not good. I'm just kidding. I'm talking smack. All right. So it is an AI story. Not really. It's energy story. I don't I don't see what the headline is though for that pop. God, they just made X such They just made X so much worse than it used to be, man. Because why would I search this up? Am I getting posts from September 18th, 2023, like years ago? Why am I not seeing the most recent posts for this? All right, oh, I can swap this to latest though. Maybe this will be better. Okay. It sucks because I used to be able to just use, maybe Grok could tell me. I don't want to sit here and wait for Grok. Yep. All of this is old. Too old. We'll try Super Grok. I like this setup, especially if it wants to go to the gap fill at $9. I imagine these contracts are also extremely cheap. It's my favorite kind. A nice continuation, potentially to earnings. Maybe buy a nice dip Monday off of 770. Actually, I wonder, it might be too small for 24-hour trading on Robinhood, but no, it's up another 2%. I mean, this thing's just continuing to go. It's up 25% today, man. The company pre-announced record revenue guidance of 56 million, record shipments and manufacturing ramp process, and mid-April. So we got to pop right back to that level ahead of earnings. So that means most of the earnings for this is actually priced into the stock, which means a lotto into earnings is probably going to be pretty pricey. Let's look at the contracts real quick. Where's my cap lock on? My password didn't go through. I'm reading really high short interest on this, by the way. This company's pretty interesting, man. Okay, let me look at this option contract. Sorry, I was looking at previous earnings on Thinkorswim. Yeah, I mean, this thing's pricing everything in earnings, man. I mean, if I even bought the 22nd, I'm paying 162% implied volatility. So this isn't something I'd really want to carry to earnings. Maybe you carry a share position into it. But I could probably play something into it. Man, even if you come out to August, you're buying like the 16s are the most fairly priced. The 16 calls are most fairly priced. Still carrying a 22 delta and 116% implied volatility. If you buy leaps, you can get them at a reasonable price, somewhat reasonable. Still very pricey. You've got a huge call to put ratio on this though. Yeah, it can squeeze a lot higher. I think I'm gonna put the 10 call on watch over 8 because that's our gap fill. But I'm gonna make a note of lotto sizing in my notes for this one. You know who just entered my brain but doesn't have earnings this week is Boeing. Boeing had big news that the Boeing CEO was going to travel with Trump to China last week. Yeah, and this thing's like breaking out of this very interesting cup and handle here. The weekly looks like it's about to flip and give a confirmation here too. I actually, I'm a fan of this setup here, and I love this kind of structure. By the way, it's one of my favorite structures to see is big pop that consolidates and defends the EMA all day long, and then kind of finishes near the highs. That's beautiful. So I would take this over the previous day's high. I'm gonna just double check that it isn't already like gapped up huge, and you see if I need to adjust my alert. Yeah, so it's 238.99 in the pre-market right now. So it's definitely gonna gap up a little bit more. So let's actually, what we need to do then is we need to come back to the daily and say, okay, where's the next big key level here? 240. I think it's going to go right through 240. I'll leave my alert there just to make sure I don't miss it. 244 should be very doable here. This would be, if this is truly a wave one here and not just a complex period of consolidation, 270, new all-time high. So actually, let's set that here, but let's also do more complex wave counts. So we have this one here. We have a clear low right here. Run this to the previous high. And then we have this is the Bowden method where we're looking for clusters. And this is what I use for confirmation of my momentum names. So these are long-term targets that could take months, maybe until the end of the year. But I really like this, honestly. Yeah. So I'm gonna add this one, Boeing. I like the 245 call over Friday highs. I think that's a top watch, quite honestly. Who else was top watch? Oh, you know what? Fly was too. Fly had some pretty stellar news and a big move. I think I actually took some Fly. No, I decided to play. I actually played Javi. Okay. Oh my gosh. Both of these look so good. I'll play this one even larger size over 11. Okay, let's go back to Fly though. And then we should look at Archer because Archer has earnings soon. I mean, this is really nice. Really nice setup here. Daily's just flipped. Weekly is going to be a terrible signal here because it's a newer name. So lower time frames are actually going to be useful. Strong. You got this another big opening drive that then consolidates. That's really nice behavior to see after a big puke like this. That could defend this this key support line that's forming here. This is still kind of tough to play, but I mean, it's probably worth making an attempt over 41. This is one where I'd probably be a little bit quicker to take profits. Oh, they won the. Yeah, man. That's big news. That's big news. And a good earnings. Puked it, but they came and defended that support. This could turn into a much bigger rally. You know, this could turn into who had a similar setup to this? I think Coinbase had a similar setup to this when they IPO'd. They went through this period of consolidation, and then as soon as they broke that IPO high, they went nuts. Oh, too far out. Yeah, period of consolidation. Oh no, terrible example actually. Man, that is like the worst double top ever, too. By the way, I do like this company where it's at right now, but I can't remember who I'm thinking of. But I feel like I've seen this exact chart before, man. Maybe it was Roblox had a chart like this. Now this is another ugly double top that just puked all the way through. My gosh, what a brutal puke too. I might be a buyer down here. Oh gosh, Piper Sandler. You're a little late to downgrade this one, buddy. My gosh. Let's see if this turns into a value name later, but it's not worth spending a lot of time on because that's an ugly chart. Yeah, I like Fly. Okay, I like this a lot. I think I actually want to be looking for opportunities to probably chase the momentum a little bit more aggressively. This is another one. I think I want to look at it on. So it's at 39 in the after hours. So this will be another double alert one. I like this over 40. I want to be looking to buy the 44 call over 40. And I like that earnings is behind us. It's important to note that I believe Archer and them share a very similar business. So if Archer support earnings, it can take them out. Well, there's very unusual buying here, actually. There's an unusually large orders for June. The 50 calls were very popular on Friday. We'll see if there's some high conviction positions. There is. Oh, there's big in the money call buyers as well on Friday. They were wanting shares at 30. You like to see that. That's like it's a few 100,000 in options. So they're building a large share position. Okay. I like that a lot. I like that. You know, and when Trump family shows something favoritism, like picking them for the Golden Dome, they usually ensure their success until Exhibit A of that. My gosh. All right, let's look at MP. Because we have, well, I guess we should look at USAR real quick because they did have earnings too. It's in a steady uptrend. It's just not, I mean, this chart is just such a mess. So when MP first took off, we actually traded this one. Back in the day, I had some leaps on it. And then I just started ignoring it, quite honestly. I actually think it was this pop that we traded. But they're probably next in line to help with the magnet production that MP kind of has a monopoly on. MP, if it defends this daily, is just beautiful. Like a reclaim of 73.61 is just gorgeous. This is a large stock position for me, by the way. And the weekly is just now confirming. I think we get a continuation here. This name is like CEG, so it actually wouldn't surprise me if it went for a further back test. Although it gets a little dicey. It gets a little dicey down here if it gets back to 61. Like you need a pretty violent reaction off of that level. Setup's not good enough to be on the focus list for the week. And USAR isn't either, in my opinion. Let's look at Docs. I haven't looked at Docs since like 2021. But it's a telehealth company. This thing's just dead in the dumps, man. I don't want to touch this. Shame. Was really early to this name back in the day when it had this run up. This is actually this run up. I called it out down here actually, and it was what initially blew up my X account. I'm looking at who else has earnings right now. Did we look at Archer? I don't think I did. I think I got distracted. Again, same setup as everything else. I think I like Fly back more than I like this though. Actually, do I? Fly's 6 billion, and yeah, I like Fly better. Fly needs to do a stock split or something. Looks like I already have an alert here where 70.55, but honestly, this is the setup. I don't know. I don't know them well enough to go for a lotto on them, but it's probably pretty cheap to try a lotto to see if you get that $2 move. I guess just in case anyone's watching the stream, I'll look at the pricing of the contracts and kind of tell you what's priced in. So I mean, yeah, if you yeah, man. I mean, if you get that move to 9 and you do get that pop, you'll get paid for it. It's not priced for a big pop. It's actually decently cheap. As far as earnings go, if you buy like next week's contracts, so it's at 6, pop to 7, or potentially 9. I'm pretty. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, this is already confirmed the breakout, and then it back tested and set the higher low. I mean, it's giving you your confirmations here of a higher move, and it's not super pricey. I don't think it's something I would play though. I think there's too many other good setups to focus on. Okay, let's go back to Plug, who has earnings this week. Dude, that's just not for me, man. It's just not for me. ONON has earnings this week. This is the OnCloud company, by the way. Man, I thought they were kind of taking Nike's business, but it looks like no one's buying shoes. Is what it looks like. I kind of wonder. I don't. Adidas. Oh, people just start buying shoes. Man, if you like Nikes, this is the dip you buy. Do they pay a dividend? They even pay a dividend. Not for me. I hate Nike. I'm not gonna lie. I know some people won't like that I said that, but I just do. I never bought a pair of Nikes and been like, wow, these are more durable than I expected. They're just awful. ASTS, this is a very much a cult name. And it looks awful, man. Like if you fail 80, I would short this. I'm actually gonna put it on the watch list. There's a lot of people who think this is a Nest SpaceX. It's not even close to being comparable. Not in the slightest. And I think a lot of people will dump this in favor of SpaceX for that exposure. The reclaim of 80 fails. I like the 75 puts. Potentially even like the 70 puts because this is a big mover. And if it breaks 69.41. I also like it. I'm just gonna put 55. Put it under 64. One second, I'm typing this up in the Discord. I'll check here in a moment if I have any comments on YouTube, any requests, ticker requests. Let me check on that real quick. We don't have any requests. I'll check the chat in a few minutes again. If you want me to look at a stock, just put it in the comment section over on YouTube. All right, let's look at I think there was one more earnings name I wanted to look at. Oh, it was rum. That's what it was. You know, I'll just wait to see what the earnings reaction is, man, because it looks like a bonus wave, but I want to see like a real dip. You know, the dip to buy was here where it did like this little mini bull flag, right? Right? Like that's a nice dip to buy. Come touch the bullish EMA, and then you get a nice reaction off of it. Am I gonna get interested now though? Not really. If you clear, I didn't mean to copy. If you clear 9, okay, all right, all right. If you clear 9, you're kind of proving to me that we're gonna go test 11, and that might be the range I want to play. But I think I want to see a deeper dip here. I want to see if maybe we could clear that, if we could come and defend the top of this previous bull flag and get a move higher. Come here. You okay? Come here. Come. Here, real quick for people who are watching, or people that are watching this later. Look at this. You want to see the cutest thing ever? Look at this. Oh, come here. Come. Oh, my little puppy. Look at this. This is the newest member of the family. Is she precious? Yeah. This is Harper. Mwah. Oh, you're such a cute little puppy. Gosh, just the most well-mannered German Shepherd puppy I've ever had. And I've had German Shepherds my whole life. She's so good. Okay. Anyways, let's get back to work. Okay. I think we've gone through most of the earnings names. Let's kind of get back to the watch list focus. So a name I really liked last week was mRNA. Lots of virus news, huge deals setting up here. I really like the way this thing defended. And I kind of want to continue to see if I can buy this. Like I got the daily about to flip, the 2-day about to flip, and I'd like to see the weekly kind of give a nice turn, like recover this previous high and see if we could just get a blow through move here. Like I just higher low here, higher low here. Buyer stepped in aggressively, which is what you want to see, right? Man, it looks so good. So I'm gonna set an alert here at 58. And I think you want to look for that 50 DMA. Oh, actually, wait. I'm looking at a weekly. That's not helpful. It's not helpful at all. So we got 64 major key level. We've got 80 as major key level. So I like the 70s over 60, basically. It's technically over 59. We just have really strong news out of this name, man. And I really also like how this is sneaky. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. It's real sneaky. Pfizer also looked really good though, and then just puked it. This one paid well, but I gave back a sizable chunk amount of the profits when this thing started to fail. And this thing was even firing on the monthly and then just got this massive denial. I do think you probably wanted to set an alert here, though. This 27.75, because even back here, this is a huge point of interest. I mean, just for years, a huge pivot point. So let's keep an eye on that, because if it gets recovery, and I see maybe even the weekly kind of flip bearish and then kind of recover, that can turn into something. It's pretty dead though. It's not gonna go on my focus list for this week. It's interesting how that's setting up. Okay. Let's go through other major focus stocks. So SYM got bludgeoned on earnings. Looks like we have a clear trend line here. So I gotta set the alert there and I ignore it till that breaks. Let's look at Terra and Rock. That doesn't look tradable to me. I'm not a big fan of that one. Nice pop to all-time highs. So, man, this just looks like one of those moves that everyone's going to be hoping for the gap fill so they can be a buyer, and this thing just gives them no good entry and they have to FOMO in later at a higher price. These things can be so tricky. So let's actually put this on the focus because I've been trying to be patient with this one, and I just with the way it's consolidating up here, I feel like I can't be much more patient. And it might pay to not be patient. So let's put over 463. If it moves, it should move pretty aggressively because everyone's going to FOMO in. So I'm going to put over 463. I like the 480s with you'd run your stop pretty tight. So you'd even if you actually get the confirmation in the background and then it loses 454. That's actually not that tight, but those premiums will probably hold up pretty well. Let's look at Uber. This one tried a recovery on the daily. I might be cutting the remainder here. I actually hate the way that puked. And if it loses 73, it might be a short. I don't think it's a top watch though. Let's take a look at Netflix here, man. So Netflix is about to fill the gap to the downside. Or did it? It came a few pennies short. That's an ugly chart, man. I'm gonna look at what insiders have been doing for Netflix. Nothing gives me real warning signs. It all looks like planned selling. But I think I like this short, man. Just be a continuation of the downtrend. This looks like it wants to set another low. The what you don't want to see with setups like this is you never really want to see a wave, what looks to be a wave three, actually break it to the wave two, and this thing actually just set a lower low. So it's actually a top watch for further downside. So I'm gonna put Netflix as actually a top watch, and I'm gonna put 82 put under the 8660. Yeah, because that looks. I'm gonna put that one as a top watch this week because that just looks like clear downtrend starting to form here. Ugly, ugly, ugly. I'm looking at what I've been trading a lot this year too. By the way, I guess I'll do a review of Apple. It's Apple's just wild, man. I think Apple. Yeah, I have the 310 set here. Again, using the Bowden method. I almost hate calling it the Bowden. I like to call it the Bowden method to give her credit, but she's still around, still trading. And I feel like when you call it that, it implies like they're dead or something. I don't know why I feel that way. Actually, I think that's a stupid thing to say, but I just want to be clear. She's around and kicking, still kicking butt. Just not a lot of access to her these days. Apple just looks like it's a favorite right now, man. I mean, this thing, yeah, it's high. It could just keep going high. When Apple runs, it just runs, man. So Um, it looks like it's going to 310. I went ahead and put 300 call over 395. I think dips are buys as well. Um, in the overnight, it's like one of the top names. Let's actually take a peek at futures, and we're still just sideways. Given that, let me take a peek at USO. I honestly actually need to peek at futures. So yeah, futures are up. But I don't think so. We're testing this right now. That was a bad line. Is this the downtrend then? Yeah. So this is pretty simple when it comes to like what's going on with energy, what kind of opinion. You know, you could debate all day the fundamentals of it, but let me just tell you right now, it's so simple. If this breaks the lower part of the wedge, equities are going to moon, and if it breaks above, we're in for a short-term retracement. It's so simple. And in fact, this chart should probably go in the weekly report, and I should just remind people that like, you know, you could have whatever thesis or theory or you know, deep dive you want, and none of it matters in the face of price action. Like, there's literally no point in having an opinion. Just let this tell you your opinion. If it confirms the breakout this week, then we probably want to pull back on our long positions on equities broadly. There'll be some names that run regardless, but like it's so simple, man. It's so simple. You don't need to have an opinion. Just let the market tell you what to think. That's what it's there for. That's right. You know, people think being a trader means you like tell the market what it should think, but the market's there to tell you what the collective thinks. So utilize that wisdom, man. You know, a wise man listens to the opinions of many. Um, this is a small cap that I kind of like. There's a few robotic small caps that I kind of keep an eye on. This is a really clean structure setup here. But actually, it needs to break that high. I haven't reviewed these ones in a while. But when it seems like people are starting to extend down the risk curve, this is where these kind of get back my interest. I actually really like this name. And I like this structure. So let's set an alert here. Just be mindful that we're still a ways out from earnings. Caught a really nice rally on this one. And then just had to ignore it when that rally started to fail. We'll see if we're in for another pop to the upside. I guess we should run through some AI names just besides NVIDIA. ARM, you know, that double top could be ugly unless you get a quick reclaim. I don't know. Someone's gonna love that chart. I don't. It's hard to play, man. With oil at the this usually would probably hit make my watch list. Let me see how many years we got. I like this here because I do some more bearish focus for the week. Um, Sorry, guys. Give me a second here. This is important. Okay, I had some request charts. I'm looking. I don't see any on YouTube, so I'm gonna actually do these. Sorry, I'm pulling these DMs up. Okay, so I have a question about Carvana. Because I see the stream's been going on for a while, so I'm gonna look to wrap things up shortly. Make sure I give myself some wind down time before I go to bed. It's already getting kind of late. I don't know, man. This thing's been such a miserable short. Uh, it's such a nice rejection here, though, because you didn't get the reclaim, right? And you're kind of feeling the breakout here. They split this. I like it. That was messing me up for a second there. I was like, wait, 70. They. This thing is tradable. Like, easily tradable. I could even trade this one in the small account. Now. Well, they even killed the implied volatility. They killed the interest on this with that split. Oh my word. Were the option chains fully reset? Is that what happened? They were. Okay, they were. Okay, because everything has zero open interest. I'm like, what's going on here? What am I looking at? Because I'm seeing 16,000 70 puts bought on Friday, but it's because of the split. Was the split on Friday? Okay, it was. Interesting. And that's literally for the end of this upcoming week. I don't know, man. You gotta lose this. You gotta lose this, and then I'll take the short. Uh, Let me actually copy the link in the direct link for this for the Discord because I know everyone loves trading this one. Let me look at a few more of these in the DMs. We already did Apple. Sorry, I'm pausing because I've already run through quite a few of these. I never heard of this company, and that's why nothing's popping up. Is it a typo? That's not a thing. Is it? Yeah. Sorry, man. I'm not even. If you happen to be watching right now, you're gonna need to resend that one to me. Is this a troll? Is this a troll DM? Does Wendy's have a ticker? Okay. Oh, I didn't even spell it right. It does. Okay, we'll look at it. Win Wendy's. I just what? Oh, someone's gonna like this, and that someone is not me. I don't know. Show me a ton of short interest on this, and show me over 20% short interest. 20. Oh shit. Okay, 25%. All right. Okay. Great. No, this is actually like a reasonable idea because there's a decent amount of short interest. Let me just quickly, real quick, at the numbers here. This is becoming a better buy. I mean, $11.22 sales per share. It's honestly been the best buy. This is the best entry for this name that it's been in last 7 years. Like as far as value goes. And they pay a dividend. My God, they need to lower that dividend, honestly. This company's, ew. They're just, they don't make money, man. Like that's why it's no. This made me want to take a look at Kava. Kava real. I bought this like here like a 110, and we were up huge, and I got greedy with it. I'm man enough to admit that I don't have the most success with restaurant stocks. Although I know people I know some people love them. That also does. Oh my gosh, McDonald's got. They're supposed to set up some sort of subscription service. I thought. Did that bomb? Let's ask Grok real quick. I'll get back to looking at DMs here in a second. Well, someone dumped it, even though they beat earnings. That's a pretty major trend break, guys. Like a really major trend break. And your monthly's about to flip. Your monthly's at a 6. It's at a 6. A little oversold here. What's the next key level here, honestly? I don't think I'm gonna put it on the watch list, but it's a pretty major break. With the peptide craze and the GLP-1s and stuff, I'm kind of wondering if market says, okay, we need to see more, we need to hear more, to not think people are gonna, the healthy trend won't continue. It's him. I'm gonna look at Dell just real quick. This is all time highs, right? Yeah. There's just no freaking way. I I I I see this. All I can think is short, and I just don't want to touch that with the headline. For those unaware, that move is pretty much Trump doing. Let's set an alert here on this. Trump doing the Dell family a favor because remember they were the ones who were invested big in the kid fund basically for kids to automatically get invested in the market. Then 4 months later, Trump tweets out, um, "Buy Dell," and the stock moves 11% one day, or whatever that was, 13% one day. Yeah, it looks like we've covered most of the names here in the DMs. And I've got a good 14 on the watch list for this week. There is a few more things I want to look at. though, because I want to look at China as a whole. And I'm just going through some more DMs and stuff on my phone, just trying to see if there's anything else here that I missed. Um, okay, it looks like we covered most of these. There are some questions about Chinese names, so we'll take a peek at FXI here, and then a few individual names. I mean, it's very simple. Get over 39, man. Get over 39. Stop playing games. This could be a higher low that gives a nice continuation. It shows the signs of it, but I need you to break through that. It's so simple. You know, Baba's even doing the same thing, right? You got earnings around the corner, so yeah, it's so simple. Show us something big on the AI. Show us that China is more robust than the market believes, and then we can make some moves here. Like I wouldn't overthink this one. I guess I would just say that these have been pretty tough to trade. Baba, I don't even know if I'm profitable in Baba this year. I probably am. It's one of those names where I'll make a bunch of money on it and I still won't feel good about it because it can be such a turn. So I am profitable Baba this year. Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on it. I think Neo at one point was looking really interesting too. And again, this is trying to set that higher low. The thing about this one that immediately stands out to me is like we've clearly broke this support. And remember, like if we were looking for something like a 5-wave Elliott pattern, right? We wouldn't want to see this actually retrace into the first wave here, right? So now it looks like it could be just a continuation of this sideways trend, right? Really an ugly continuation of it. Let's take a look at Baba again. So you don't really have that from Baba. This is the first wave, and we did wave 2 retracement. It doesn't look like it's one of those cleans. It looks like probably a 50% retracement. Yeah, so you actually did. Well, technically it is a 618 retracement. Yeah, just about. You okay? I might want to rewatch that. Did she just chew on that light? I saw a flashing. Okay, well, I'm gonna hide those cords. Um, what we're gonna look at next? I think that about covers it, guys. I can feel myself getting tired. My brain's not working as well, which means I need to type up this report before I become too sleepy and completely useless. Yeah. All right, let's take one look at IWM and let's call it. You know, this has actually done a really good job of keeping up with SPY, I think. Look at that. Interest rates unchanged, by the way. You know what the big difference between IWM and SPY is? Is that IWM is mostly domestic names. So like, if you remember, like last year, everyone was like, "Oh, we gotta sell all. We gotta get into emerging markets. Like, we gotta buy up China, and we gotta get out of U.S. names." That was the big craze last year. Remember that? FXI down 6% year to date, and the index with the most exposure to the U.S. up the most. And if you remember, I told you everyone who's doing that is stupid. U.S. dominance is not dead yet, baby. It's not dead yet. This is a messy cup and handle, though, man. Like when it failed through here, you definitely should have been chickening your booties a little bit. But man, that's a crazy move. There is definitely a considerable amount of repositioning in IWM. This is really bullish, quite honestly. You get this motive wave to new highs. You get this like perfect retracement, nearly perfect retracement, and then pop through. Actually, I'm super curious um, if this is even. Wow, yeah. We actually bought AVUV as a main position in the portfolio. So for those who don't know, AVUV is it's small caps that actually have healthy balance sheets, and yeah, I mean it's just massively outperforming the SPY, which is what I thought would happen. I actually hadn't realized by how much though. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Let's take this to year to date. Not bad. I think a lot of the bleeders here are going to wake up soon. I could argue that I need to remove Costco. It's been tough because we've just been in this period of consolidation that looks fairly healthy to me. Like even the daily woke up a little bit here. The weekly's kind of puking, but like the monthly's bottomed, in my opinion. So even though I see this and it's a little bit concerning, and like these structures, like you are getting this cross on the RSI and SMA, like it's a bit concerning, but the way that it's consolidating through this period of weakness makes it pretty easy to hold, especially when I'm getting these dividend payouts. I just think it fits nicely in my portfolio. That's mostly tech. Um, and mostly tech and sciences. God, CRISPR, I'm just waiting for this move, man. This thing looks beautiful. All right. I'm dilly dallying. I gotta write up the rest of the report here. I guess I was supposed to share that report with you guys. Let me just go ahead and post the trade ideas in the Discord, and then um, Um, Very simple. This week we have the wedge. So if we break above this wedge, if we get a nice continuation through this wedge, base case for the week would be a pullback. If we deny, and be mindful that with how this structure is, here in this period of consolidation, this is where you really want to be on the watch for something like this that kind of like acts like it's breaking out and then just plunges right to the bottom, which can be another fake out. This is where I would become uncertain about whether we're gonna break back to the lows or if it's actually gonna get a continuation here. So the point being that breaking the wedge doesn't mean the story's over. The break of the wedge, though, will be enough to kind of tell me what to expect for the outcome of this week. So I just want to be clear. The bigger picture here could be more complexity, but in the short term, I think it's fairly simple. So if we deny or fail to break out, the rally can continue higher. Be mindful too that as far as that complexity goes, like with where SPY is, we have a very clear impulse wave. So you kind of want to see if we, honestly, this thing still can do something where it breaks all the way down to 700, which is a pretty substantial pullback at this point, right? Like breaking down to 700, that's a 5% move, but it still just puts us back to that bullish support. And we're still in like a roaring bull market, right? What's important is that when you get that pullback, it doesn't wipe you out, and you're able to come in and buy that dip, right? So you kind of want to be quick for the risk adjustment for that move. So long as SPY 700 defends. So as long as you continue to defend 700, I mean, it's pretty unlikely you come back to that because you do have this really nice area consolidation. So 710 is probably where you should expect a ton of support. So that said, market did close last week, right? Or as you can see, we used the Bowden method. So last week's report, which I guess I should just swing this up here so you guys can see. So on last week's report, I did the Bowden method, right? And I made sure to point out to members that we were looking for these targets to the upside, right? And so at the end of last week, we came right. Look at where we're at now, right? We're right at that target, right? That's the power of the Bowden method, where you use previous highs and lows and the Fibonacci extension tool to look for those areas of price discovery, right? Best to use that method. Be mindful when you are breaking out to fresh new highs, right? Otherwise, what I typically will do is I'll just look for those key pivot levels like we have on a lot of those previous charts. So okay, those charts where we're like forming these bottoms, then typically I'm going to be looking for those major key levels, right? But when we're in fresh price discovery, that's when I'm going to almost always fall back to my fibs. Um, and then look for the confluence, look for those clusters. Um, so I actually, this would favor a bit of a pullback before a continuation, but if you do get the continuation, the next really tight cluster is actually all the way at 790, which is probably even after a pullback is where the market's likely headed from here. It's not impossible that we just continue to drift up here, though. Obviously the market can make some pretty crazy moves. But I think you've kind of already made some of the crazy move. I'm looking for some sort of rug like that here. You still need the confirmation on the 1 minute chart, right? To actually get that. But let's continue to type that up here, though. Important, by the way. If you are watching this and you're not in the Discord and you want to be able to see these write-ups every single week for free, first of all, there's the free newsletter, and then there should be a link for the Discord in the description down below. So above this, yeah, puts to 788. So this week we have CPI on Tuesday. Market's going to make a big deal out of that. And then we have retail numbers and job numbers on Thursday. It's actually a lighter week for macro. So Thursday is going to be the big day where you want to manage your weekly positions ahead of that Thursday morning print because it can cause big pivots. Especially if you're bullish ahead of it. We are in a market state where bad numbers can be good news, though, because it can, especially if it affects interest rate decisions. It can. The numbers have to be really bad. If there's really bad numbers and the market moons, you'll know it's because the CME watch has probably radically adjusted and cuts. But it does need to be pretty bad news because with where the energy is, interest rates are very unlikely to get changed because the Fed's going to be scared of an inflation, sticky energy numbers, which are going to hike up inflation, right? Because energy is the lifeblood of the economy. So it's important to be mindful of that. And then when it comes to jobs numbers, I actually don't think they're that important because productivity is accelerating through the roof with AI. And history would tell us that even if we do get a period of joblessness, there should be new jobs that come up from AI. And so there will be a rebound. Will it be a full-blown rebound like we've seen in the past with new technologies arrive? Lots of people say yes. I kind of am still in the camp of not, probably not, but I still think it's important to be kind of humble about it because I'm pretty sure that's what everyone thought with every new technology. You know, the invention of the vehicle and stuff is what I'm kind of referring to. Those, you know, or cell phones. Um, it's important to remember that the CPI is also expected to probably come in high. Actually, let's pull that up real quick. I'm forgetting to like show you guys this. Yeah, so forecast is higher for year over year. This is supposed to come down though. And I think home sales were actually starting to kind of make a rebound. I'm looking at earnings again. All right, I'm gonna publish this week report's gonna be a lot lighter than last week's because last week's was like a big um it's last week was like a semi-annual report. This one's a lot shorter. I guess a few more comments before in the live stream here in a few minutes. Which for a few minutes for me quickly turns into 10, 15, but silver is confirming a breakout here. So I would keep an eye on it this week, especially like we get the breakout and now we got some nice consolidation. So similar to like this honestly looks very similar to Irene on the daily here, right? I'm sorry. I have to pull that up here for it to remember my markups, right? So we kind of got this breakout. This actually ended up looking like a failed breakout, and then kind of set up this secondary resistance. And then we got with the breakout through that, we got the moon mission. So that's kind of what you're getting from silver here on the shorter time frame. So I would just watch that to see if you want to chase it higher. That's where FOMO can kind of get out of control. And then over 75 is your major key level for acceleration. So if you do buy it, you might want to take some partials into that and then see if you can get good follow through. It's not amazing, especially with like the weekly continuing to break down. But you are about to get the flip here, so this could be the week where this actually turns. And the 2-day just fired to the upside. So keep an eye on it. It's also worth saying that if you do get the breakout on oil, you do want to be watching corn, and you do want to be watching like wheat, which had like big rebounds on Friday. Right after I cut my remaining positions here, they get like the big rebound. But watch these because you are testing, major resistance here. Actually, in fact, I think wheat actually just gave the confirmation here. Corn's a little bit more difficult, especially with the way it closed. But watch it. You get back over 1867, maybe even you're gonna just pop through it, and maybe that gets interesting. Yeah, and that's all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. If you didn't enjoy the live stream, if you enjoyed the YouTube videos, please leave a like. It helps a lot. But I'm getting the routine, so I'll be trading the first hour every day on YouTube, and we got more videos coming out. Obviously, we've got a lot of things we're working on. It's very exciting. We got a few cool podcasts coming up too, so check it out. Follow along. That's it. Peace out, guys. Have a great night. God bless.